Identities and authentication. Developer identities and ledger accounts are two types of authentication that are used for interacting with canisters and cycles. But what about interacting with applications or websites built on ICP? For that, end users can use Internet Identity. It is ICP's native form of digital identity that can be used to authenticate with apps, such as the NNS dashboard, without having to manage a username or password. Instead, Internet Identity uses a cryptographic key pair that's stored in your computer's hardware. Through this simple and flexible authentication method, developers can provide end users with a frictionless way to authenticate and use applications. Types of identity. First, let's clearly define the identity and authentication terminology on ICP. Developer identity, created using DFX. It contains a private public key pair and has a principal data type derived from the public key. It can be compared to a Bitcoin or Ethereum wallet address. Principals, generic identifiers that are used for users, canisters, and potentially other future concepts. There is intentionally no way to tell canister principal IDs and user principal IDs apart. You can learn more in the IC specification. Account identifier, the identifier associated with your ICP ledger account, as specified in the ledger specification. Wallets, used to store forms of currency or other assets, such as cycles, ICP, or NFTs. Internet Identity, ICP's native authentication service. Internet Identity doesn't use usernames and passwords. Instead, it uses a passkey that is stored in your local device's hardware. In this guide, you'll learn how to use Internet Identity. Internet Identity Architecture. Internet Identity uses an implementation of the WebAuthn API that runs within a single canister that serves both the two front-end application code and handles the authentication requests. The app's authentication service issues delegations on the user's behalf, which are signed with private cryptographic material created by the WebAuthn API that is owned by the user. This private material never leaves the user's device, as it is stored in the local hardware securely. Then, the two front-end uses the WebAuthn API to sign the delegation with the cryptographic material. Integrating Internet Identity into your DApp. Now let's look at a simple example of how to integrate Internet Identity into the front-end of a DApp. Open the ICP Ninja Whoami. Example. In the project's dfx.jso file, you will see a definition for the Internet Identity canister.